Good Monday morning to everybody. Hope you are doing well and your week is off to a good start. Take down some of this glare perhaps so the cards can be seen better, hopefully. We are continuing July the 4th since we had that power outage and internet issues last week early on, so we got behind. So we're going to finish up the last 4 games of July 4th during this week. And so the next game in that schedule takes us to Kansas City before we head out west on the 3 West Coast games. So we're in Kansas City Royal Stadium. Singles are 11, home runs are 3, as it is a symmetrical park. It's game number 551 overall. We got 2 left-handers, David Wells taking on Bud Black. Good morning, Philip. Wells against Black is your matchup in this one. We'll look at Wells later. We'll start with Bud Black. He just recently got off the injured list and has come back to the Royals to make room for him. Bob Shirley is either injured or sent to the minors or something. So Bob Shirley is no longer on the roster, active roster. And Bud Black is your starter. And with that, they moved Bob Stoddard back to the bullpen. So Stoddard's going to aid the bullpen, which is a little bit beleaguered at the moment. So Toronto comes in 47-31. Kansas City 41-37. Hello, Dr. D. Bud Black. Let's look at Bud Black's card before we get going any further. Bud Black on the 1987 season was 8-6 with a 3.60 earned run average. This is in starting and relieving. On the replay, he is 3-3 and much better. 3-3 with an ERA of 1.99. 54 innings pitched, 43 hits, 16 walks, 33 strikeouts. He has a wild pitch of 9, a balk of 0. He's a +1 hold, but Larry Owen's a -1 hold, so a net of 0 there for him. And now the Blue Jays stepping to the plate. Pretty standard lineup against the left-hander. They're going to go with their right-handed DH of Cecil Fielder, and also go with Charlie Moore catching the right-hander and Kelly Gruber, a third baseman right-hander. So the lefties, Ernie Witt, Fred McGriff, and Rance Mullinick's all on the bench. All right, so Tony Fernandez will start things off for the Blue Jays. He's hitting .337 on the replay, 3 homers, 30 driven in. He hit .322 in the real season. Good morning, JT, and good morning, Dan. Yeah, Dan, apparently I didn't have enough coffee this morning. I set up the stream and forgot to connect the webcam. So the only way I could stream would have been on my laptop, whatever that webcam thing is on the laptop. So I wouldn't be able to stream. So I had to cut it off and restart. That's why I used a different, what do you call it? A different thumbnail or whatever to try to differentiate it. So, but we're back in play now. And one thing I'm not going to forget that I had forgotten the last couple of times, because now we're back on regular ground. I mean, last week was a kind of a free-for-all with everything going on, but we're back on solid ground now, which means the ceremonial first sip is back in its normal rightful place. Ceremonial first sip is in the books. And now we're ready to go. Tony Fernandez, the shortstop. Tony Fernandez. Switch hitter will bat right-handed. And that is a 5-12. 5-12 is a ground ball right back to Bud Black. And an easy play there. One of the easier outs Bud Black's going to probably have all game. 1 away. And that brings up Lloyd Mosby, one of the few lefties in the lineup, him and Willie Upshaw, the only 2 lefties. Mosby is hitting .329 on the replay, 20 homers, 66 driven in. He hit .282 real world. 1-5, and that's a base on balls. First walk issued by Black, and now he's going to try to run. Mosby's going to try to get that good lead. Let's check the stolen base prowess on Mosby, both on the regular season and on the replay. We'll bring up his numbers. Mosby on the real season stole 39 bases, got caught 7 times. On the replay, he's stolen 15 bases so far and been caught 4 times. So he's going to try to steal his 16th base of the replay. To get the good lead, needs a 2 through 5. Doesn't get it, so he will hold. And that brings up Jesse Barfield, the league's leader in home runs. 31 home runs, 77 runs batted in on the replay, 329 average. He's only bucking for one of the MVP honors. And he only hit 263 real world with 28 home runs. So in 307 at-bats, he's got 31 home runs. That's on the replay. Real world, he had 590 at-bats and just 28 home runs. So with 200, almost 300 fewer at-bats, he's got more home runs than he had in real world. That's just crazy. But that's just the way it is. All right, so here's Jesse Barfield. That is a 1-5 against the left-hander, and that's a fly to center. 2 away. 2 down, and that will send up George Bell. George Bell. Bell on the replay is hitting 299, 27 homers, 72 runs batted in. He hit 308 real world. Mosby, that's a 2, so chance of a balk or pass ball. We're looking at a pass ball chance on Owen, which is a 4. And it is a pass ball on Larry Owen. He will let that get by him. That turns this into a clutch at bat now, since the pass ball has occurred. Puts the runner in scoring position. And so we look at Bell's numbers against the lefty in the clutch. And actually, he is neutral when it comes to that. So now we'll get the Bell at bat in, 4-3, and that's ground ball pitcher X. Bud Black is a 3 for his range, as an E is a 0. So 3 range. So just needs a higher number to make the play. And a 3 and 16 is just fine, and that will end the inning. Takes care of the Blue Jays here in the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first. Toronto 0, Kansas City will be coming to bat. And a young David Wells on the mound for the Blue Jays. In the real season, he was 4-3 with a 399 earned run average. He had 2 starts. This is his 2nd start. Also did some time in the bullpen. So we'll see what he can do in this one. On the replay, Wells is 0-1 in his 1 start. Only went 4 innings, gave up 5 hits, 11.25 earned run average, walked 6, struck out 1. So the walk was bugaboo. That's where he got himself into trouble, was all those walks. All right, so that'll bring up Willie Wilson to lead us off for the Royals, switch hitter. And again, the Royals going with a little bit of a right-handed heavy lineup as well, with Juan Beniquez as your DH. Everything else is pretty standard status quo. And, of course, Owen catching instead of Jamie Quirk. So Willie Wilson hitting 273 on the replay. 2 homers, 16 driven in. He had 279 real world. Switch hitter batting right-handed. 5'8" against the righty. He's a ground ball second base X. That's Manny Lee. He's a 3 3 and a 3. That's going to get through for a base hit. 3 and a 3 will be a single. We'll check the error. E32. He's got to avoid 11, 15, 17, and 18. 11, 15, 17, and 18. And 13 he does, but it's going to be a base hit for Willie Wilson. And we'll look at the hold rating for Wells. He's a -3. Moore is a +2 for a net -1. But Willie Wilson's going to try to get that lead and see if he can steal a base. That was one of his calling cards during his career, was stealing bases. See how he's done on the replay and the real world on as far as stolen bases. Willie Wilson in the 87 season stole 59 bases, got caught 11 times. So far in the replay, he's stolen 28 bases, been caught just 4 times. So he's going for stolen base number 29 if he can get a good lead. That's a 3 through 6. Does not get the lead, so he will hold. And that'll bring up Kevin Seitzer, third baseman. Seitzer hitting 297 on the replay, 9 homers, 42 driven in. He had 323 in the real season. 6-7, and that's a strikeout for Wells, his first. Seitzer is out of there. Brings up George Brett. Brett playing first base in this one. Interesting, they had Brett playing first base and Balboni on the bench with a lefty on the mound, but that's just the way they decided to play it. So George Brett hitting 283 on the replay. 8 homers, 19 driven in. He hit 290 real world. Lefty, 6'9". That's a ground ball, shortstop X. They were holding Wilson on. So Fernandez will now be a 2E17 because he's part of the responsibility for holding the run with a lefty batter up there. So he is now a 2E17. 2 and a 9. That could make a difference between a double play and a fielder's choice. Let's see, 2 and a 9. Yep, and it definitely did. 2 and a 9 is a G2, where had he not been holding the runner, it would have been a G1. So they're going for just the fielder's choice now. And Fernandez in E17 has to avoid 15, 16, and 17. And that's a 15. So not only will they not get the double play, they won't even get anything because that's going to be an error on Fernandez. 17, a number 15 right there is an error. On an E17, a 15 is an error. So Fernandez perhaps trying to hurry the double play, didn't get anything. E6. Let's put runners at first and second, 1 out. For the cleanup man, Danny Tartabull. Tartabull hitting 313 on the replay, 18 homers, 54 driven in. He hit 309 real world. That is a 5-7. 5-7s will be a base on balls. It's going to load the bases. So a very sloppy inning for the Blue Jays, defensively and pitching. Bases loaded. Only 1 out for Frank White. Infield playing back for a double play to try to get out of the inning. White on the replay hitting just 230, 10 homers, 27 driven in. He at 245 real world. That's a 3-5. And that's going to be a ground ball, shortstop B. They'll just get the force. They will not get the double play, so the run will score. It's an RBI ground out by Frank White to score Willie Wilson an unearned run, but they count all the same. And for Frank White, that is RBI number 28 on the replay via the fielder's choice. So that puts runners on the corners with 2 outs for Juan Beniquez, the designated hitter. Beniquez is hitting 273 on the replay, 6 homers, 28 driven in. He hit 251 real world. Clutch situation, and in the clutch, he will gain 3 hits in a row right here in column 2. 2-3, 2-4, and 2-5 all turn into hits. So does 112, 1-6, and 3-11. I don't think I've ever seen anybody with 6 hits, 6 clutch hits added to their card in a clutch situation. So Beniquez must have been extremely clutch. That's a 111, and he just missed a clutch hit. Instead, it's a ground ball to second that Lee handles, and Kansas City will walk away with 1 unearned run and take a 1-0 lead after 1. So all in all, Wells, I guess, got out of it pretty light compared to what it could have been. We go to the second, and Big Cecil Fielder, designated hitter, steps to the plate. He got off to a real torrid start in the beginning of the season, April and May. He's cooled down quite a bit since then. He's down to 277 on his average, 15 homers, 27 driven in. He hit 269 real world, so he's right about where he should be. 5-7 against Bud Black is a strikeout. First strikeout for Bud Black. And Fielder is out of there. Brings up Willie Upshaw, first baseman, hitting just 211 on the replay, 4 homers, 26 driven in. He hit 244 real world. 211, pops it up to first, and George Brett's right there. 2 down. And that'll send up Kelly Gruber. Gruber hitting 284 on the replay. 8 homers, 25 driven in. He hit only 235 real world, so he's definitely overperformed. 1-7, and he's going to strike out this time. Second strikeout for Bud Black. 1-2-3 inning for Bud Black. And we go to the bottom of the second. Still no score from Royal Stadium. Wells out, and he'll be facing Bo Jackson. Jackson on the replay, hitting .247. 14 homers, 37 driven in. He at .235 real world. That's a 5-3, and that's a 5-3. It's a ground ball pitcher X. He's a 3-E-0, so he can't make an error, but just checking the range. 3 and a 10, I believe, is just fine. 3 and a 10 for a pitcher is a G3, which is definitely good enough with nobody on. And he'll take care of Bo Jackson. One away. That'll take it to Angel Salazar. Salazar hitting .222 on the replay. 2 homers, 14 driven in. He at .205 real world. That is a 5-7, and that's going to be another walk. That is the second walk issued by Wells, and walks are what got him in trouble in game 1 that he pitched. So he's going to hope to pitch around it here. Salazar will not go anywhere. He will be held, but he won't go anywhere. I'll bring up Larry Owen, hitting .082 on the replay in 73 at-bats. 1 homer, 2 driven in. He hit .189 real world. That is a 5-5, and that's going to be a single 1-16. 17-20, he grounds to third. And that's a base hit for Larry Owen, 1 star only. Puts runners at first and second. 1 out for the top of the order in Willie Wilson. .29 for Wilson against the lefty as a ground ball shortstop B. So once again, another fielder's choice, 6-4. Going to third is Salazar, 2 down. Now we'll see if Willie Wilson tries to get that lead again. It is a clutch situation for Kevin Seitzer with runners on the corners. Seitzer in the clutch against lefties will lose a hit on 1-3. That's a 2. Chance for a balk or pass ball. Looking at a balk chance, and he's got a 0 balk rating. But now that means that Wilson can't get a good lead, so we go straight to Kevin Seitzer. 6-8, and that's a strikeout. And Wells gets out of the inning. Seitzer struck out twice. We go to the third. Still 1-0 KC. Top of the third we go, and Manny Lee, the second baseman, will lead off for Toronto, followed by Charlie Moore and Tony Fernandez. Manny Lee hitting .219 on the replay. No homers, 4 driven in. He at .256 real world. 3-3 against the left-hander is a fly to right field. Tarble puts it away, 1 away for Charlie Moore. Catcher, Moore. Moore is hitting .182 on the replay, a homer and 3 driven in. He at .215 real world. It's a 1-4. He's going to ground it to short for Salazar. 2 quick outs. Back to the top of the order for Fernandez. Fernandez grounded to short as well his first time up. 4-8, switch hitter batting right-handed is going to be a base hit. 1-3 is a double. 4-20 is a single. And it's a 2-out single for Tony Fernandez. And the proverbial, there goes the no-hitter. So Fernandez looking to get a lead. See if he can take off. 6 or 7 gets him the good lead. And he does not get it, so he will hold. That brings up Lloyd Mosby. 6-8, lefty, struck him out. Strikeout number 3 for Bud Black. Nothing doing for the Jays. We go to the bottom of the third, still 1-0 Kansas City. And George Brett will be coming to the plate. Brett, first time up, reached on an error by Fernandez. Proved to be costly. 5-10, and that's a ballpark single check. It's a 1-11 for George Brett to get a base hit. And he does. So George Brett, courtesy of Royal Stadium, gets himself a leadoff single. I'm not going to have him try to run or anything like that. Here's Danny Tartable. That is a 6-9 for Tartable, and it's a ground ball shortstop X. That's going to be Fernandez. He is a 1, so it's a potential double play. 1 and a 14 is probably a G1. We'll double check it. It is. So he's got to avoid the error. If he avoids the error, it'll be a Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. He's got to avoid 15, 16, and 17. Whoops, that didn't go through. He's got to avoid 15, 16, and 17, which he does. So it's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play. Giovanni's Tailor Shop in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. If you're in that area and you have tailoring needs, be sure to stop by and see them. Tell them Demo sent you. They'll give you a discount. They are the unofficial sponsor of the channel, but the official sponsor of the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play of the game. And that was tailor-made, 6-4-3. Here's Frank White. 4-9 for White. That's a single. 2-out single for White. Keeps the inning going. And that'll send up Juan Beniquez, designated hitter. Beniquez grounded out to second his first time up. 3-5 against the lefty, and that is a ground ball right back to Wells to end the inning. So nothing doing there for KC. We've completed 3 in Royal Stadium. Score still 1-0 Kansas City. And the big boys coming up for the Jays, Jesse Barfield, George Bell, and Cecil Fielder. Heart of the order. Barfield, his first time up, flew to center field. 6-9, and this time he gets a base hit to center field. So Barfield, leadoff single. He's aboard for George Bell, left fielder. Bell grounded right back to Black his first time up. 110, and that's going to be a ballpark blast for George Bell. But it's only a 1-3 at Royal Stadium. And it's just going to be a deep fly to left. So George Bell has a home run taken away by pitcher-friendly Royal Stadium. 1 away, and that brings up Cecil Fielder, designated hitter. Struck out his first chance. 1-7. He will do it again. Struck him out again. Struck out number 4 for Bud Black. And that'll send up the left-handed hitting Willie Upshaw. 1-6 for Upshaw. He flies to center. So nothing doing for the Jays after the leadoff single. Bud Black retires 3 in a row. Gets out of the inning. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 1-0. Wells back out. Both starting pitchers have fatigue of 5, so next inning will be the fatigue inning to check. Here's Bo. Bo knows. That's a 3-10, and Bo might know a double if he gets a 1. Otherwise, he's going to know a center fielder, a fly ball to center, which is exactly what we have. Run down out there by Mosby. 1 away. Sends up Salazar, the shortstop. Walked his first time up. 5-7, and he'll walk again. So another walk, 3rd walk issued by Wells. Salazar could think about running, but he's going to stick where he is. And we go to Larry Owen. 3-9 for Owen, and he's going to draw a base on balls. This is what got Wells in trouble in his first start. The base on balls. His 4th walk in 4 innings. 2 on, 1 out. Top of the order, Willie Wilson back up. 4-7, switch hitter batting right-handed, and that's where the trouble comes in. Now you got the base hits, going to score these walks. 1-15 is a double, 16-20 is a single. That is a double, 2 stars only. It will score Salazar, and Owen will stop at 3rd, but now it's 2-0 Kansas City. But those 2 walks preceding the double are what really did him in. And now the infield is going to have to come in with 1 out. You got to try to choke that run. Second and third, one out. And Seitzer, the batter, Wells has struck him out twice. 6-6. This time he'll walk. I'm sorry, 6-6 over. He'll strike him out again. So the hat trick for Kevin Seitzer. The only 3 strikeouts for Wells have all been Kevin Seitzer. Now the infield goes back to normal. Clutch situation, though, for George Brett. Brett in the clutch against lefties will gain a hit on 212. Everywhere else he is neutral. That's a 2. Balk or pass ball chance. We're looking at a balk chance, and Wells has a 0 balk. So we ignore that. Go straight to the Brett at bat. 1-9 for Brett, and that's a strikeout, a big one for Wells to get out of the inning. 1 run comes in via those 2 leadoff or 2 1-out walks. Came back to roost. And at the end of 4, it is Kansas City 2 and Toronto nothing. And this is the fatigue inning for Bud Black, so we'll keep an eye on him. Kelly Gruber, your batter. Gruber, Lee, and Moore, bottom of the order. 3-8, and that's a 1-4 single. Anything else, he lines it to short. And that's a liner right to Salazar. 1 away. Bud Black baffling the Blue Jays so far. Here's Manny Lee. 1-6 against the lefty. He will ground it to Mr. Salazar. 2 away. And that'll send up Charlie Moore. 1-10, and that's a pop out to short. So Salazar is going to take care of all 3 outs by himself. And Bud Black keeps full endurance into the 6th inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th, still 2-0, or bottom of the 5th, rather, and it's 2-0. And here's Wells. This will be his fatigue inning as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. He'll be facing Danny Tartabull, Frank White, and Juan Beniquez. 3-6, and that's going to be a 1-14 home run for Danny Tartabull. 15-20 is a triple, and that's a 16. So Danny Tartabull with a leadoff triple. For Danny Tartabull, that is his 2nd triple of the season. He had 3 in the real season. This is his 2nd on the replay. A leadoff triple, and now the infield's going to have to come in again. Mark, no, it's a misprint. Should be a 20. I verified it with the computer. It's really a 20. It was just a misprint by the guy who made these cards for me. It should be a 20 there, not a 30. But he is an automatic wild pitch for sure. But the infield is in for Frank White. They're down 2-0. They've got to choke that run off. That's a 1-5. 1-5 for Frank White. Fly ball left field B question mark. Potential sacrifice fly. However, Bell does have a -2 arm, so you'd be looking at a 1-14 chance. Or I think they're going to, with nobody out, I think they're going to hold him there. They still got 2 more opportunities to bring home a run. Here's Juan Beniquez. Infield still in. 4-5, and that's going to be a double to center field. So that's why they held the runner originally, figuring the base hit would come along eventually anyway. It is now 3-0 favor of the Royals. And now the Toronto bullpen is going to start to stir. 1 more base runner, and Wells will reach fatigue. Here's Bo Jackson. 3-10 for Jackson. That's a 1 for a double, but anything else he flies to center. This is the exact same role he had last time up. And he will fly to center once again. 2 down. Clutch situation coming up for Mr. Salazar. And in the clutch against lefties, he will lose a couple of hits. 2-9, 2-10. Also 1-3. He loses 3 hits. That's a 1, so that's an automatic wild pitch that will move the runner to third base. It's an automatic wild pitch. Now Salazar 6-4, and it's a fly ball center field X. Mosby is a 1, so we know he's going to get to it. Just a matter of whether he boots it or not, or bungles it, whatever you want to call it. He's an E7 center field, so he's got to avoid 3, 4, 15, 17, and 18. And that is a 14. And so in the E7, the 14, he missed it by 1, so he did not make the error. He makes the catch, and the inning is over. I believe that's going to do it for Wells, though. 3-0 Royals after 5, and that's going to be it for Mr. Wells. He will go 5 innings, and they'll turn it over to their bullpen. Let's get the numbers on Wells officially from the Strat-O-Matic computer, just so I don't make any errors. Wells went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned because of that E6 in the first inning. Let's see here. He walked 4, struck out 4. So the 4 walks, 2 of them cost him a run here. So a little bit of sloppy play, as we say. Top of the 6th we go. And Bud Black, who's not being sloppy, he has been really efficient. He'll be facing the top of the order, Tony Fernandez, Lloyd Mosby, and Jesse Barfield. That's going to be a 5-7. Struck him out. There's a dot there, but he has not reached fatigue yet. Strikeout number 5 for Bud Black. And it appears, if I remember correctly, that Toronto, during the season, real world, and certainly in this replay, is having a little bit of trouble with left-handed starting pitching. It kind of neutralizes some of their lefties. All right, here's Mosby. 5-9, and that's going to be a fly to center. 2 down for Jesse Barfield. Although you would think Barfield and Bell and Fielder would light up lefties, but they're not doing it yet. 1-5, and he's going to fly to center, and that's going to end the inning. So Bud Black will continue to have full endurance into the 7th. He is moseying along with a 2-hit shutout through 6 innings and has a 3-0 lead to show for it. Now Toronto will need a new pitcher. We'll go to Toronto's bullpen and check out the availability of who's out there. They've got Jose Nunez and Mark Eichhorn from the right side, along with their closer, Tom Henke, but he's not in play right now. And then 2 lefties, Musselman and Lavelle. So let's see who's coming up. Owen, Wilson, and Seitzer. We kind of go any direction we want to here. I'm going to go to the bullpen and see who's the most rested. And I guess just take whoever the most rested guy is. According to the computer, Jeff Musselman is pretty well rested. So we're going to go to Musselman. Left-hander, Jeff Musselman. And we get the numbers on Musselman, both on the replay and real world. Real world, Musselman was 12-5 with a 4.15 ERA and 3 saves. And on the replay, Musselman is 3-1 with 1 save and a 5.04 ERA. So Jeff Musselman, the left-handed reliever. He is a 0 hold, which makes him a +2. And he will be facing Owen, Wilson, and Seitzer. Kind of funny, Owen Wilson, if you know the actor. Had back-to-back in their lineup. Owen Wilson, I just caught that. All right. So Larry Owen. 1 for 1, a single and a walk for Owen. That's a 2-3, and that's going to be a ballpark single check. It's a 1 to an 11. And that's a base hit. So Owen 2 for 2. From that number 9 position, here is Willie Wilson. 6'4", switch hitter batting right. Ground ball third base X. That is going to be Gruber. He is a 3.24. 3 and a 7. Might just be a fielder's choice. It could be a G3. 3 and 7 is actually going to be a G3. His only play is going to be to first base. His error is E24, so he's got to avoid 9, 12, 15, and 18. which he did. So the only play is to first base. So Owen will actually go to second, and Gruber will throw Wilson out at first base. One away. And that will take us to Kevin Seitzer, who is probably glad Wells is not there anymore because Wells struck him out 3 times. So maybe he'll have better luck against Musselman. 3-9. Well, not too much better luck, but at least he made contact. Fly ball to left field, 2 down. And now it's up to George Brett. Clutch situation for Brett against the lefty. And again, he will gain that 1 hit on 212. 3-6, though, is a ground ball to second. Manny Lee makes the play. And nothing doing for the Royals. We go to the 7th. And it is still 3-0 Kansas City. Bud Black still being very efficient with his game. And he's going to face, again, the big boys. Bell and Fielder will start things off. But he's pretty much held them in check. In fact, he's definitely held them in check. They're 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. So. Oh, that one missed the shoots. Let's try it again. That one got hung up. So, boy, we're just having issues here. There we go. 3-3. It's a ballpark single for Bell. 1 to an 11. And he gets a base hit. Only the 3rd hit of the game for the Blue Jays. Leadoff single brings up Cecil Fielder. That's a 1. Chance of a wild pitch on Black. He's got a wild pitch rating of 9, but no wild pitch. So Fielder will step in and bat. 111 for Fielder. That's another ballpark single. 1 to an 11. And it's another base hit. So back-to-back ballpark singles for the Jays. Brings up Willie Upshaw. And now the Royal bullpen is starting to stir a bit, as it looks like Steve Farr, the right-hander, is loosening the bullpen. Upshaw. 1-7, struck him out. Big strikeout for Black. That's his 6th. 1 away for Kelly Gruber. Gruber is the tying run. He is also 0 for 2. 2-8, and he's going to hit into a Giovanni's Taylor shop. Taylor made double play. Second one of the game right here. Ground ball shortstop A. That is going to be a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. And that'll do it for Black. He's going to go 7 innings of shutout ball. You can see he was starting to lose it just a touch. But if you're Kansas City, you definitely can't complain about a 7 innings of 4-hit shutout. And he only walked 1 batter. That was Mosby back in the 1st. Struck out 6. So quite the performance there. Steve Farr will be coming on to pitch and try to close the game out in the 8th inning. Right now, bottom of the 7th inning stretch. Jeff Musselman is stepping up to the plate, or to the mound, rather. And he'll be facing Tartable, White, and Beniquez. Tartable, triple his last time up. .610 for Musselman. That's a fly to center field X. Mosby's a 1. We know he's going to get to it. Just looking for an E7. Whoops. Looking to avoid an E7, I should say. He's a 7, and that's an 11. So center field, I believe 13 was the error. Yep. No, actually 15 and 17 are the errors, and 18, not 11. So good play for Lloyd Mosby. He takes care of Tartable. 1 down, and that's going to take us to Frank White. 5-7, and that's a walk. Musselman issuing the first walk of his outing. Brings up DH Juan Beniquez. That's a 5-7. And it's another walk. Back-to-back walks issued by Musselman. Will send us to Bo Nose. Last 2 times Bo has flown to center field. He's gotten the 3-10 roll twice in a row. Well, that didn't go through. That white die went over the edge. Let's try it again. There we go. 1-7. This time he strikes out. First strikeout for Musselman. 2 down, and that's going to take us to Angel Salazar in the clutch. In the clutch, Salazar again loses some hits. 1-3, 2-9, and 2-10. 4-9 is going to be another walk. So Musselman's going to walk the bases loaded for Larry Owen. And that might be all for Musselman right here. And Jimmy Williams has seen enough with all these walks. 7 walks issued by Toronto pitching in this game. So he goes an inning and 2/3. And he gives up just the 1 hit, but the 3 walks. And now it's up to right-hander Mark Eichhorn to get out of the mess. So they will hand the ball to Mr. Eichhorn. Or will they? Not sure if we want to go Eichhorn or some. Oh, that's right. Remember the bullpen guys got knocked over. That's why I couldn't find them. I don't think they want to go to Nunez. I think they want somebody to get out of the inning, so they're going to go to Eichhorn. See if Eichhorn can get out of the bases loaded situation and keep them in the game. Mark Eichhorn facing Larry Owen. Bases are loaded, 2 away. And we'll bring Eichhorn in on the computer. Musselman was actually showing tired, but I think they were going to make the call anyway, just because all those walks, couldn't just take all those walks. So now we're going to the bench, or to the bullpen rather, for Toronto to grab Mark Eichhorn. So let's get Eichhorn in his numbers. Eichhorn, first of all, on the real season. Let's get Eichhorn's numbers on the real season. On the real season, Mark Eichhorn, 10-6, 3.17 ERA, and 4 saves. That was in the real season. On the replay, he is 1-1, 3.46 ERA, and 1 save. 55 innings pitched, 47 hits, 22 walks, 43 strikeouts. And his job is to get Larry Owen. Clutch situation for Owen, but he's neutral in the clutch. That's a 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop exit right to Tony Fernandez. We know he's going to get to it with a 1. We just have to make sure he doesn't make an error like he already did once. He's 17 at shortstop. He's got to avoid 15, 16, and 17. The 15 got him last time. And this time he barely avoids it with a 13, but he does make the play, and that will end the inning. And close the book on Musselman. So we go to the 8th inning. It's still 3-0. Toronto's still in it if they can ever get their offense in gear. But they have been rather lethargic the entire game. And now Kansas City will bring in their new pitcher out of the bullpen. And that will be one of their closers, Steve Farr. He and Quisenberry sharing that duty. But Quisenberry's been pretty much overworked, so they're going to go to Steve Farr out of the bullpen. Try to pitch these last 2 innings and secure a victory. So we go to Steve Farr, real season for Steve Farr. In the real 1987 season, Steve Farr, 4-3 with 4.15 ERA and 1 save. But I have been using him more of a closer role for the Royals, more so than Quisenberry. So in the replay, he's 3-3 with 9 saves and a 4.18 ERA. 52 innings pitched, 49 hits. 33 walks, 48 strikeouts. And he will face switch hitter Manny Lee to start things off. We're going to get a pinch hitter for Charlie Moore for the Blue Jays. Probably be just Ernie Witt and have him slide right in to catch. So Ernie Witt's going to hit for Charlie Moore and take over as the catcher in the 8th inning. So Ernie Witt. And he'll stay in the game to catch in the 8th. Oh, wrong side here. Got messed up here. Oh, well. Manny Lee and then Ernie Witt. So Charlie Moore's day is done. He was 0 for 2. So Manny Lee will lead things off here in the top of the 8th against Steve Farr. We get a 1-7, and that's going to be a strikeout for Manny Lee. 1 away, and now that brings up Ernie Witt. Going to bring him in on the computer to replace Charlie Moore. So Ernie Witt on the replay. Ernie Witt is hitting .256. 7 homers, 27 driven inning at .269 real world. Let's see if we're lose peripheries here. All right, so here's Ernie Witt. 1-4 for Witt, and he's going to walk. Walk to Ernie Witt. And that'll send up Tony Fernandez. That's going to be a 1-4 for Fernandez, and that's a ground ball pitcher A, yet another double play hit into by the, and that's going to end the inning. Ground ball pitcher A on the 1. So that is a 1-4-3 double play. Actually, 1-6-3 double play. 1-6-3 double play because Fernandez was batting left-handed. And that'll take care of that. And we go to the bottom of the 8th, still 3-0. Eichhorn will stay in and try to keep things where they are, facing the top of the order. Willie Wilson, Seitzer, and Brett. And now the computer is prompting me to put Witt in as catcher, so we will do that before we can continue. Now we're all set. Here's Eichhorn. 6-7, and that's a strikeout. He strikes out Willie Wilson's a lefty, so it's still a strikeout. I was reading off the wrong side, though. But Wilson's out on strikes for no matter what. 1 away, and here's Kevin Seitzer, who struck out 3 times. That's a 5-4, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-8. So 1-8, and we've got a home run. 9-20 is a double. And that's a double for Kevin Seitzer. He finally gets his first hit of the game. 1 out double. That'll bring up George Brett. 5-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Fernandez. He's a 1. 1-11, so I don't think the runner on second is going to be able to move up. Let's see. 1-11 is a G1, so the runner has to hold. So again, has to avoid 15, 16, and 17. Which he does. It's a 5. I'm not messing with rare plays. So it's just going to be a 6-3 ground out. Runner is holding. 2 down. And we go to Tartable in the clutch. Tartable in the clutch will lose a hit. Lose several hits, actually. 2-8, 2-9, and 3-10. That's a 2-8, and that's one of those anti-clutches. So there you go. We called it out, and we hit right upon it. 2-8 against the right-hander is a single, but you've got the omega symbol there, which is anti-clutch. That comes into play when there's 2 outs and runners in scoring position. There are 2 outs. A runner is in scoring position, so that category fits. So that single turns into a pop out to short, and Tartable fails in the clutch. And the inning is over. So we go to the top of the 9th, last chance for the Blue Jays. It'll be the heart of the order, though. Mosby, Barfield, and Bell. So 2, 3, and 4 hitters. These are the guys you want up there. If you are Toronto, these are the guys you want. So a little closer here. These are the guys you want up there, no question about it. So far, facing Mosby, get a 310 for Mosby, and that is a ballpark blast for Lloyd Mosby. But again, it's only a 1-3 in Kansas City. And that's a 12, so just a deep fly to right. One away. And that sends up Jesse Barfield. Barfield's been mostly quiet. He did get one single. That's it. He's 1 for 3. That is a 5-10. 5-10. Catcher X. Larry Owens a 3. 3 and an 18. Probably a ground out of some sort. Let's take a look here. 3 and an 18 for a catcher is a G3. His error rating's a 5. The only way he makes an error, 4, 16, 17, or 18. And no problems there. It's going to be a 2-3 ground out for the second out of the inning. And the last chance is going to be George Bell. Bell, 1 for 3 as well. 2-6 for Bell, and that's going to extend the game. 1-17 is a double, 18 to 20 is a single. And that'll be a 2-out double for George Bell. That'll extend the game to Cecil Fielder, but they will call Fielder back, and they will go to a left-handed pinch hitter. Fielder does not do well against righties, so they will go to Fielder's counterpart, perhaps. Actually, they're going to go to Rick Leach. He's got the better average. He's got a better average than McGriff does. So they will actually go to Rick Leach to pinch hit for Fielder. So Rick Leach. Rick Leach, where are you? There you are. Rick Leach. So we'll bring Rick Leach on the computer and see what he can do. And get his numbers as well. Leach. There he is. Leach on the replay is hitting 318. 2 homers, 9 driven in. He hit 282 real world. That's a 5-12, and that's going to be a ballpark blast. But once again, only a 1-3. Anything 4 or higher, the game is over. And it's over. Fly ball to right field takes care of it. The Blue Jays are shut out by the Royals by the score of 3-0. But Black gets the win far with the save. We'll get the totals and set you up for tomorrow. As the Blue Jays are continuing to struggle here in the month of July, falling further and further behind the Brewers. 3 runs, 9 hits, and no errors for Kansas City. No runs, 5 hits, and 1 error for the Blue Jays. Eichhorn is going to go an inning in the third, give up a hit, and get a strikeout, nothing else. Wells, the loser, he's now 0-2. Bud Black, the winner, is now 4-3. Steve Farr picks up save number 10 on the replay. He went 2 innings, gave up a hit, nothing else, a walk and a strikeout. Could have been a lot worse. Kansas City left 13 runners on base, or else the score would have been obviously a lot worse. But as it is, gets the victory. They improved to 42-36. They're trying to catch up with the Oakland A's in this replay. Go to the standings with this win factored in. Kansas City is now in second place. Well, they were in second place, but they're now 5.5 games back of Oakland. So if Oakland loses to Boston by chance later in this July 4th date, they'll pull to within 5 games of the Oakland A's. Toronto, with the loss, drops to 6.5 back of Milwaukee. Milwaukee still has a game with California later, so we'll see if they lose a full game or whether they stay even, depending on what the Angels do. So we do have 3 games on the West Coast as the next 3 games on the schedule. They're all out west. Just depends on which order choose to do them in. So tomorrow's game looks like it's going to be from California, from Anaheim Stadium. It'll be Chris Bosio and the Milwaukee Brewers against Don Sutton and the California Angels. That'll be tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we'll have Bruce Hurst and the Boston Red Sox against Jose Rijo and the Oakland A's. Then on Thursday, to wrap up the day, we'll have Jack Morris and the Tigers taking on Mike Campbell and the Seattle Mariners. That'll be the schedule. Then I'll figure out what to do for the Friday game, whether I start going into July 5th. I might go ahead and play the first game of July 5th, kind of get that out of the way so that we can start next week on July 5th in earnest. So we'll figure it all out. No Rockies game tonight. No, nothing tonight. This is the only stream I'm doing today. Tomorrow morning, we'll have the game between the Angels and the Brewers, roughly 9:15 Eastern, just like today. And tomorrow night will be the All-Star game in the 1979 NBC Game of the Week season using the inside pitch. We'll be at the Kingdome in Seattle for that All-Star game from 1979. And then the Rockies will pick up Wednesday night. We'll pick up with their replay on Wednesday night. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all are having a great start to your week. Hope you enjoyed this presentation of Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced 1987 style. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and we will see you all down the road.